The best of Money Matters. The Big Story.
Welcome to The Big Story. I'm Hongbin, Jeong. DBS, Singapore's biggest bank, says it expects to cut 4,000 roles over the next 3 years as artificial intelligence takes on more work currently done by humans. Now, this makes DBS one of the first major banks to offer details on how AI will affect its operations. DBS currently has between 8,000 and 9,000 temporary and contract workers. The bank employs a total of around 41,000 people. Now, the ongoing proliferation of AI tech has put its benefits and risks under the spotlight, with the International Monetary Fund saying that it is set to affect nearly 40% of all jobs worldwide. Elsewhere, in another report by Citigroup, the global investment firm said that the banking industry will be the hardest hit by AI, with 54% of roles at risk for AI-led job displacement. Additionally, another 12% of banking jobs could be potentially augmented by AI. But why exactly are certain roles said to be affected more significantly than others? What AI trends can we expect to see in the next few years? Well, joining us today is Professor Fong, who is the Vice President and President's Chair in Information Systems at Nanyang Technological University's Nanyang Business School. Hello, Professor. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello.
All right, Professor. Now, DBS expects to reduce its contract and temporary staff by around 4,000 over the next 3 years as AI increasingly takes on roles carried out by human beings. How does DBS's decision to reduce temporary and contract staff reflect the growing impact of AI in the banking sector here in Singapore?
Yeah, I think the DBS move does reflect their confidence in the capabilities of AI in the banking and financial sector. In fact, previously, DBS has already reported that they used AI assistance and that helped them to reduce their customer handling time by up to 20%, or even improving some response quality in some cases. So quite obviously, they are seeing improvements in quality, efficiency, and also savings in manpower costs. So we do see that many banks have tried out various AI tools and that have helped them in perhaps tasks traditionally handled by customer service agents. And these AI, on the other spectrum, can also even perform higher order functions such as signaling trading events, monitoring and alerting potential vulnerability, and even reporting crimes and fraud. So certainly, this indicates that AI is something that really cannot be ignored.
I see. So how is AI adoption expected to impact the types of roles that will be reduced at DBS Group over the next 3 years?
Yeah, so basically we can expect that structured, routine, and repetitive job roles can effectively be automated by AI. So that's why we see that they're starting with the contract staff and the temp jobs, right? Because these are more likely to be made redundant or at least redefined, where minimal interventions will be made and required. And of course, on the other hand, there will also be AI that can potentially help to augment higher order functions such as fraud detections, as we have mentioned earlier. So these are likely areas that will be set to be redefined in the near future.
I see. Well, in your opinion, Professor, will we see other banks here in Singapore following DBS's lead in the next few years as well?
Yeah, actually, DBS has been seen to be a front runner in digitalization in Singapore. That has been the case for the past few years. So I think DBS success in AI is set to inspire other players, or they are probably a front runner, indicating that others are likely to follow suit in the banking sector. I do expect to see some changes that will be following DBS in other banks.
I see. Well, the IMF has also warned that AI might worsen inequality globally. We'd like to get your take on this as well. How will the widespread adoption of AI in the banking sector impact workers in developing economies or lower wage jobs within DBS?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, it's usually the more structured and routine jobs that tend to be more widely impacted. And therefore, these also tend to be the lower wage jobs. So I think naturally we would expect more impact on these type of jobs. As for the developing countries, actually, I think it might be a different situation over there because for developing countries, there's usually like a leapfrogging effect. In fact, we see fintech taking root in many of these developing countries. So they may be in a way more well positioned to leverage on AI. But at the same time, there are also many problems available in developing countries.
I see.
Lots of opportunities to address this using AI.
Right. Then what steps should banks take to address the potential social and economic implications of mass automation?
In fact, this question of social and economic implications of mass automation is a big question. It cannot be the sole responsibility of any one entity. But definitely, I think the banks have a role to play. I think it starts right from planning and communicating the changes to those affected sensitively. And I think what they are doing, what DBS is doing, is helpful in the sense that they're trying to plan ahead for the next few years. And they're highlighting that the attrition will be more organic. They are trying to apply it more to temps and contract staff. And it's not about actively attrition or letting go, but not replacing the affected people. So I think they are doing this in the right manner because they are planning ahead. So I do think that institutions should take on the responsibility as well to ensure that their affected staff will be retrained and redeployed so that they can minimize the disruptions. So retraining and reskilling is going to be very important.
I see. Well, in a broader view here, global banks will cut as many as 200,000 jobs in the next 3 to 5 years as AI encroaches on tasks currently carried out by human workers. Now, despite the job cuts, many companies suggest AI will augment roles rather than replace them. Is there a way that AI will not fully eliminate jobs, but instead lead to, workforce transformation?
Yeah, I think that, as we discussed, some work will definitely no longer require human intervention. But I don't think a massive job loss across all different types of work is a likely scenario. If we look at some past trends, we can see that the banking sector, while they have faced periods of contraction during the economic downturns, but in recent years, we actually see a trend of growth and adaptation where they have increased the emphasis on technology-driven roles. So I think that signals that in the short term, we will actually see a redefinition of jobs at various levels than what we would expect to have a net job loss. And I think until we see great efficiencies across the board, then we might actually see a downtrend in terms of a job loss.
I see. Well, do you believe the shift towards AI in banking will lead to a reduction in customer-facing roles such as tellers or relationship managers? I mean, how do you foresee generative AI transforming those roles?
Yeah, in fact, I do see that happening. And this is happening with digitalization and with people getting used to self-service through these digital platforms and apps. Not necessarily because of AI itself, but definitely as AI gets more advanced and as people get more used to such customer service through digitalization, I think more of their needs will likely be satisfied without human intervention. I do think that these roles will still be needed because there will still be cases where human intervention is required in the case of an unusual or abnormal event. And also at the same time, learning of AI systems, the AI systems needs to be trained. So to have effective training, we still need to ensure that the AI is trained by the best in class. So hiring highly skilled workers who are able to provide the adequate training will also be very important.
Right. So what is your view on how AI will influence work-life balance and employee satisfaction in the banking sector as well?
Yeah, so I think in the short to medium term, as I mentioned earlier, the companies will go through a journey of trying to improve and increase their automation and to use the AI. So that journey, as with any digitalization efforts, is not going to be easy. So I think they have to work through that journey. As to work-life balance, I think ultimately the impact of work-life balance very much depends more on the culture of the organization and the nation rather than the use of technology itself. If you think about France, for example, they have a 35-hour work week, whereas our work week is 44 hours here. So I think that has a much bigger impact than simply whether we use technology or not.
I see. Well, DBS has indicated that it expects to create 1,000 new AI-related jobs. But what kinds of roles will these be, and what qualifications and skills will be required to transition from current roles to these new positions?
Yeah, I think nowadays AI deployment cannot be viewed as projects that only involves technical proficiency. In fact, we see that AI is becoming much more prevalent, and it's something that can be used by jobs, all different types of jobs. So in a way, it's this participative nature of AI that has brought about kind of a democratization, right, where all sorts of different roles ranging from marketing to HR to finance, they have the opportunity to use AI to actually improve their work. And the tools are now becoming more accessible such that you don't need to be a coding expert to be able to use these tools. So I think it's a lot about AI literacy where users need to have understanding of how to do some basic development using AI in their respective domains, and also have an understanding of even the ethical issues relating to the use of the AI.
Right. On that note then, what role do you think continuous learning and reskilling will play in helping the workforce adapt to the increasing presence of AI in banking?
Yeah, so I think the word continuous learning is really important here because it's not really a one-off training. And because the technology continues to improve and we're expecting some sort of proficiency across all different kinds of job domains. So I think it's really about continuously learning and upgrading to equip ourselves with the requisite skill sets and to actually learn how to adapt and transform and to really leverage on AI in each of our jobs.
I see. Well, Professor, 40% of jobs worldwide are expected to be affected by AI, as noted by the IMF. So what steps then should governments and financial institutions take to address the social impact of AI and prepare workers for the upcoming disruptions?
So I think definitely we need to anticipate some sort of social impact. I think we will need to consider digital divide in terms of those who have access and those who do not have access to the technologies, and being cognizant and providing the support to those who do not have access is important. I think at the same time, the designers of the AI systems really need to embrace what we call human-centered designs and also consider ethical issues, including things like inclusiveness, fairness, transparency, and explainability. So, like I said earlier, it's really about gaining AI literacy, which is sort of being able to understand what are the implications of the AI and looking at the explainability of the AI. And of course, just like what we are doing at the government level, ensuring that we are able to retrain and provide support so that people will not be left behind in the AI race. I think that will be very important.
Right. And Professor, before we let you go here, what else would you be looking out for in the AI front in the coming years?
Yeah, I think I'm optimistic. I think I would see a future workplace where AI and humans coexist and augment each other and also learn from each other. And in fact, I think about them working as a team, humans and technology, complementing each other's capabilities. This way, we can ensure that the humans are actually performing to their highest potential. And the repetitive and routine work we don't like to do can actually be outsourced to the AI. I think there's also increasing emphasis on what we call agentic AI, where in the future, perhaps AI could be empowered to act on our behalf, where we could be instructing the AI with a final outcome, such as help me to purchase a flight ticket with the most ideal route. So in a sense, it will be getting the AI to perform like a personal assistant for every one of us.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Professor, for your time and your insights today.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was Professor Fong, who's the Vice President of Lifelong Learning and Alumni Engagement and President's Chair in Information Systems at Nanyang Technological University's Nanyang Business School. This has been The Big Story with me, Hongbin Jeong.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.